until you bring him in?
That sounds good.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
To 2 p.m. Covering the news of the day and sharing ways.
In just over 30 seconds.
From the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. Todd Allbaugh along with Mr. Aaron Zommers on the board. It is now 6 minutes past the hour of 2 o'clock on this Thursday, September 18th, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite. Glad to have you along from the world headquarters in downtown Madison, Wisconsin at the intersection of State and Fairchild, where tonight, get ready to do the Thursday night market from I think 5 until 9. If you're in the area, stop on down to State Street. Meet some of our fine Civic Media staff, particularly from our flagship station, WMDX here in Madison. It'll be a good time had by all. A little cloudy. Most of that right now, I think, is kind of wildfire smoke. I think the rain's going to hold off mostly until this weekend. Might get some sogginess in on the Badger game on Saturday. More about that later on this hour. At the bottom of this hour, State Representative Francesca Hong of the 26th Assembly District here in the city of Madison is going to be on this show live. She announced her run for governor of the state of Wisconsin in the Democratic primary yesterday, and Representative Hong will join us here to talk about her touring around the state, what she sees as the biggest issues, and why she is running for governor. Francesca Hong after the bottom of this hour. Then in hour number 2, a red meat edition of What's Worse. Looking forward to that. But right now, Zommers, I don't know what I went. By the way, I've got my October baseball Brewers shirt on today. Went down to AM Field and saw the Brewers last night get another big win over the Anaheim Angels. And I know it's they go by Los Angeles now, by Anaheim. And the Crews magic number down to 6 now after last night's victory to win the NL Central. Good time had by all.
Well, as Yelly said the other day, you can't just think about the magic number. You got to just take each game as it comes.
We'll talk more about the Brewers later on in the show. But so I'm walking in last night to the stadium, my phone starts blowing up with alerts, and I just said to my friends I'm with, I'm like, this can't be. Oh my gosh! And I open it up. Jimmy Kimmel. They're using the term indefinitely suspended from ABC over comments that he made on Monday's show, and it connects with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, which I think it's important to point out. The day that the assassination happened, Kimmel put on his Twitter a very sincere, "This is awful. My wife and I are praying for the widow and the children and the family and friends of Charlie Kirk," and called it out. And so then the weekend happens, and Kimmel comes on Monday. I want to play for you the entirety of what Jimmy Kimmel said on Monday, and this was the clip that ABC is using as an excuse to essentially fire Jimmy Kimmel.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes, that's right. He's at the 4th stage of grief, construction. There's demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish.
Jimmy Kimmel from ABC's late night program, Jimmy Kimmel Live. That's it. He kind of talked about it in other terms, I guess, later on, but that was the clip that they're saying that was why ABC pulled the plug yesterday after 2 of the biggest companies that own ABC affiliates, Nexstar and Sinclair, said they were not going to air the program any further until changes were made. Here to break it down, to analyze it, to discuss it, our great reporter. He's been on the show several times. He's a writer and editor at Cracked.com, joining us from his home in New York City, Keegan Kelly. Keegan, thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me, Todd.
It's great to have you here. I wish it were under different circumstances, but I appreciate having you here because, it wasn't so long ago, a few weeks ago, you were on this show talking about the cancellation of Stephen Colbert's late show with Stephen Colbert on CBS. And that was, hey, we're not going to renew you after the end of the season in May. This hits different for me, Keegan, in that this is something that a late night host said on Monday. We played it, you heard it, and 2 days later, he is essentially gone. What was your first reaction when this broke last night?
My reaction was shock and amazement that this is the pretense that they're using to kick Jimmy Kimmel off of television. I have been speculating since Colbert, that horrible news broke, that he wasn't going to be the last. And I've been speculating that because that's what President Donald Trump has been posting on Truth Social constantly. He's been naming these names of who he wants taken off television. He followed up Kimmel with his choices of Seth Meyers. He wants Jimmy Fallon gone now. But really more than anything, I was so surprised that they picked what is one of the least offensive monologue jokes I think they could have for this cancellation, which is really what it is. They're calling it an indefinite suspension. But this is the FCC under Donald Trump's orders throwing its weight around and getting one of his most prominent critics kicked off the air over what I think is one of the more innocuous jokes that I have heard in this delicate time following the murder of Charlie Kirk.
I think that's a great point because we played the entire clip there. He never once says anything derogatory or makes fun of Charlie Kirk himself. It's poking fun at Donald Trump's reaction. And people, regular listeners to this show, will recall we, on this show, played that exact same clip of Trump. And Zomer, keep me honest, but I think I said something like, well, he seems to be pretty much over for a guy who he claimed to be his closest friend, he's moving on to ballrooms already.
Yeah, pretty much the same joke.
Yeah, I wasn't as witty or smart as the Kimmel or their writers, but because I just thought it was weird for Trump to be so aloof and flippant about the whole thing, and the fact that, as you said, Keegan, they use that to pull Kimmel just seems really weird. Also, you brought up a good point. Let's follow up on this. The events of the day. Earlier on in the day, Brendan Carr, who is the FCC commissioner, the head of the FCC. Now, he had been on the FCC before. He was elevated to commissioner when Trump retook the White House. And he was on a conservative podcast earlier in the day, basically calling out this situation. Correct, Keegan?
That's right. He appeared on this right-wing podcast, and the way he talked about it, you would think that, Kimmel was trying to incite violence with what he was saying. He was talking about how dangerous this was, how divisive it was, but then there were some really ominous moments where he called out ABC directly, and he called out the local affiliates directly, saying, I think you should preempt this. I think you should take this off the air. And this is the quote that really kind of made my blood run cold. He told them, we can do this the easy way or we can do this the hard way. Now, of course, as the head of the FCC, he does have the power to take away broadcasting licenses. And that is the big fear not just at ABC, not just at Disney, but within the companies that own their many local affiliates. Specifically, this one company, Nexstar. Nexstar owns hundreds of TV stations across the country, local TV stations. They were the first ones to pull the plug on Kimmel, saying they're going to preempt his show indefinitely. They condemned his comments. They said, we don't need division in this difficult time for our country. They were soon followed suit by Sinclair Broadcasting, another giant conglomerate. And then not long after that, the order came down from the Disney CEO himself, Bob Iger, saying that Jimmy Kimmel Live was to be suspended indefinitely.
We're speaking with, Keegan Kelly, a writer-editor at Crack.com, a great publication, particularly for entertainment and humor. But Keegan, I'm going to say it because you've been on this show several times. You're a late-night specialist in my opinion. You really follow this genre of television, so you know what you're talking about, and I appreciate you being here. Go ahead and finish your thought, please.
I appreciate that. I was just going to say that all of this happened in an afternoon. I mean, it's really frightening, right? the speed of this, that it went downstream from Carr to Nexstar to Sinclair all the way to Disney, and before Kimmel could even tape his show, in the early evening as they usually do, suddenly he's out of a job, as are his entire staff. And
you're right. It's crazy. I had Wanda Sykes, the comedian, posted. I think she was supposed to be the guest, and she was either on the way or in the green room. And she posted something that was really simple, and it just said, "If you're somebody who prays, pray."
I can't.
Wanda
agree more.
Sykes said that, right? I mean,
yeah.
So I think it is dangerous times. A couple of things I want to follow up here, and we're going to keep going through. We got to do a little business, but we're going to keep this going through the bottom of the hour if you have time, Keegan, because I think this is so important. You brought up Brendan Carr and, of course, the current FCC chairman. This is a tweet from 2019 when he was a commissioner, but not the chair. In 2019, from Brendan Carr, quote, "Should the government censor speech it doesn't like? Of course not. The FCC does not have a roving mandate to police speech in the name of the quote-unquote public interest." And in 2022, Brendan Carr put on X, Twitter, quote, "President Biden is right. Political satire is one of the oldest and most important forms of free speech. It challenges those in power while using humor to draw more people into the discussion. That's why the people in influential positions have always targeted it for censorship," unquote. Again, Brendan Carr in a tweet from 2022. So what's changed, Keegan Kelly?
What's changed is that this is the same Brendan Carr who, leading up to the 2024 election, was recruited to write the FCC chapter of Project 2025.
Bingo!
Yep.
Yeah.
This is one of the architects of this far-right reshaping of American government and American society. So it doesn't surprise me at all that his tune has changed significantly. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they found a tweet that said, "I love Jimmy Kimmel, he's my favorite comedian," because none of that matters anymore. It doesn't matter if he contradicts himself now that he's in power and executing his own plan. And it really is, this is the plan. This is not in response to what Jimmy Kimmel said on Monday. This is not in response to a monologue joke. This is not in response to him kind of pushing back on the narrative that these figures are trying to push on the shooter who killed Charlie Kirk and his possible political affiliations. This is just the excuse they're using.
We're speaking with Keegan Kelly, writer-editor at Crack.com. ABC Disney has pulled Jimmy Kimmel, as Keegan said, not for any real reason here, and that's the danger. What does David Fromm of The Atlantic say when you look at the other side, when it happens to a liberal and conservatives make jokes? We'll talk about that with Keegan on the other side. It's the Allbaugh Show for a Thursday on the Civic Media for Radio Network. Great stuff, Keegan. Really well done. I have this clip. I'm not sure if you've seen it. David Fromm for The Atlantic. He was on CNN last night, and he kind of says, "Hey, look what happened when this happened to Paul Pelosi." So it's about a minute 19. So I think maybe we'll take that and get your reaction to that.
Sure.
And also, keep me honest to bring me back, because I think you brought up the Sinclair or the Nexstar thing. I think this whole thing about them owning 39% and having to get FCC approval for their merger with, is it Techno, whatever it's called. I mean, I think that's an important part as well.
Definitely, yeah.
Enjoying the simple things, all of this is possible, even while still being in the workforce. Worthington, Minnesota is a town growing, yet it's nothing like Metro life. Professional and labor jobs, a beautiful lake, bike trails, recreation, acres of public.
Yeah, all the people that called into this show last summer and fall and said, Project 2025, that doesn't mean anything. They're not going to do that. They're just saying stuff. No, it doesn't. Turns out they were telling the truth.
And dangerous things like metals into your body.
And nicotine, which can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media.
Many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping. Because when you talk, they hear you.
Learn more at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
The John and Gordy Show. Pam Yankee. Good morning, Pam. How are you?
Very fine, fellas. Normally the Department of Agriculture in Madison is kind of open ears, but man, I am getting, even me, they're giving me pushback. And that crap, frankly, boys, just doesn't happen to me anymore these days. What do you mean you're not going to talk to me? You only got me to talk to.
Weekday morning, 6 to
30 seconds.
Thank you.
7 WMTX.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. It is now 22 past the hour of 2 o'clock. And on this Thursday, September 18th, talking to Keegan Kelly, writer and editor at crack.com. Normally, we have fun doing it. He comes on, we talk about entertainment and some funny, but nothing funny about this, Keegan Kelly. As last night, ABC's Jimmy Kimmel, it was announced, his late night program, Jimmy Kimmel Live, ABC announced it was indefinitely suspending. That's the word they used. But to Keegan's point before the break, pretty hard, Keegan, to imagine Kimmel, because now I'm hearing the reports that whether it's Sinclair, one of the big conglomerates, companies that own a bunch of these ABC affiliates, or ABC and Disney itself, are saying that everything from he's going to have to make a substantial contribution to Charlie Kirk's Turning Points USA, to offer an apology. You know this industry better than anybody else. I don't see Kimmel doing that.
I don't either. And I really don't think there's a way back from here. I think that Sinclair, Nexstar, and really ABC, they've kind of cast their votes at this point. Yep. They've chosen a direction, and Kimmel, I mean, he's been one of Trump's most prominent critics in comedy for as long as Trump has been around. He's not changing either.
Let's get to this quickly, because I think it's important. Jake Tapper had a great post last night. Follow the money, he said. My old college professor used to say it all comes down to the dollar sign. Explain this, that Sinclair owns, or is it Nexstar, owns 39% of it. There's a big deal, a $6 billion deal, just like what happened with Paramount Plus and Skydance, that needs approval by the FCC, Keegan.
You're right on. It's just like that. There's this local TV giant Nexstar. They own many ABC affiliates across many states, and they are in the middle of trying to finalize and secure FCC approval for a $6 billion deal to acquire a rival company, Tegna. And if this closed, this would mean that Nexstar, the first company to condemn Jimmy Kimmel and the first domino to fall after FCC Chairman Brendan Carr's comments, would then own 265 local television stations in 44 states and Washington, D.C. So this is a very powerful company trying to seek to become even more powerful, needing Trump's sign-off, and doing exactly what we saw Paramount and CBS do when they ended the Colbert contract. And what do you know, 2 days later, the FCC approves the merger for Paramount. So I think that this is a gambit that's going to pay off almost immediately for Nexstar.
And Nexstar's probably thinking, we don't care if we have to pay Jimmy, because his contract is up either the end of this calendar year or season. He was talking about Kimmel was maybe retiring anyway, and they're thinking, hey, whatever million we have to pay Kimmel to get rid of him, it's not $16 million like Paramount had to pay, was basically a payout for their merger, right?
Yeah, I mean, this was going to be the end of the road for Kimmel, probably regardless, because he's been talking about retiring for a long time now. But just the fashion, they're not even trying to hide it. They're not waiting for the contract to expire this time. It's all out in the open now, and that's really frightening. They don't even need the pretense anymore.
Let's go to this quickly from CNN last night. David Frum of The Atlantic on CNN talking about this situation. And when the pages are turned and it's a Democrat who's assaulted, here's the reaction.
There's only one thing that matters. There's only one thing that matters. We had a threat of retaliation by a government official for someone not pronouncing government-commanded speech. There was an order from the state about what people must say. Jimmy Kimmel did not say that, and his corporation was threatened with consequences by a government official. This is not cancel culture, because it's not culture. It's state repression. It's an order from the government. Here's the script you must read. If you do not read it, you will be taken off the air. Jimmy Kimmel didn't read it. He was taken off the air. This cannot be, because he's a comedian, there'll be people who say maybe we shouldn't take this as seriously, but here's the comparison I would suggest. When Paul Pelosi was brutally attacked, many, unfortunately, including the son of the former President Trump, made light of it. A terrible thing, heartbreaking, a terrible attack on an 82-year-old man. Imagine if the Biden administration had given a script and said, this is what everybody must say about Paul Pelosi. And if you don't say it, we will bring pressure to bear on your parent corporation to fire you. Greg Gutfeld at Fox, you're not sad enough about Paul Pelosi. You're not saying what we command to be said about Paul Pelosi. Therefore, unless Fox fires you, we are going to bring regulatory havoc to bear on the parent corporation.
David Frum of The Atlantic last night on CNN, Keegan Kelly at crack.com. Your reaction to that, and we got about 2.5 minutes left, and your reaction to what Frum said, but also where does this take us next in free speech, in entertainment and media?
A dark place. I think he hit the nail on the head there. And one thing I want to, he touched on this a little bit, that I feel like a lot of people are going to hand wave this away, saying, oh, it's a multimillionaire, losing his TV show. That's not such a big deal. He'll be fine. But if it can happen to the multimillionaire, God knows who else it could happen to. If it can happen to someone with as much sway and cultural cachet as Jimmy Kimmel, the FCC can go after anyone for anything. And that's terrifying.
Totally agree. Boy, here's a book that's making a lot of rounds today called It Can't Happen Here, a novel by Sinclair Lewis. What will happen when America is a dictator. Highly recommend reading that. Also a shout out to, I'm going to toot our own horn for a second, because the leadership here at Civic Media, because I think a lot of people are wondering, like, are we going to start censoring ourselves? And our COO, Corey Hartman, this morning put this out and said, know that we do not expect you to censor your comments simply because Civic Media's licenses are controlled by the FCC and we have a pending acquisition. We believe in freedom of speech and freedom of the press, and we stand behind our hosts. Now, I'm proud to work for this company, Keegan, and I wish that more people would be like that.
I would be too. And we're going to need a lot of statements like that from a lot of people across the country, because this is a pretty big domino to fall.
It really is. Keegan Kelly, writer and editor at crack.com. I appreciate you being here. You can find all of Keegan's work at crack.com. We'll stay on this. We'll have you back soon. Thanks for your time on short notice, Keegan.
Thank you, Todd.
Who is running for governor now? Francesca Hong, state rep here. She calls herself the wild card. We'll find out why. She joins us live on the other side. It's the Allbaugh Show across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network. Thank you, Keegan. Really appreciate it. Great job. Really, really good discussion there.
Yeah, thanks, Todd.
Yeah, be well. Hang in there. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, see you soon.
All right,
care.
take care. Bye-bye. Representative Hong, how are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you, Todd?
I am fantastic. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate you making time for us.
Of course. What an epic shirt.
Thank
The
you.
Gruber
I got down and got my October baseball shirt, and I was back. I was at the game last night, and I tried to pick up one for Luke Mathers, and it was either small or a double XL, and he doesn't fit either one of those. So, sorry.
I mean,
Luke.
he can do what he can to get into that small. I'm sure it would be slimming.
Right, exactly. But how exciting, right?
Oh my gosh. Sometimes we shit the bed in September. And so this is
Right.
very exciting that we're going into October strong. This is the year.
No, I think so too. Well, excited for your run, and again, thanks. I think what we've done for everybody so far is play the first minute. With the most Zommers, my producer here, we just find a likely cutoff point around the minute mark. So we play the first minute of the announcement video, and then we'll bring it in. Just kind of ask you the general first time on the show. So tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into the run for governor.
Cool. Sounds great.
Awesome. About 2.5 minutes, Zommers, before we go on here?
About 3 minutes.
Well, there you go.
Over again with unpredictability,
And just make sure I got
crisis.
the website
Some of that has abated,
francescahong.com, correct?
I will say.
You got it.
But some of
All
it
right,
has abated
fantastic.
Because there are definitely people that are giving up on the federal government and their role in agriculture.
Rachel Armstrong, she's the executive director and founder of Farm Commons. She says today they're estimating there's still about 2.6
We don't have to get too far
billion dollars
because
of
I want
federal
to.
funds
I mean,
that are
unfortunately,
frozen
it
and
seems as the
under
news
review.
moves so fast.
Said
When
they'll be updating their website and
County Executive
continuing
Crowley
to
was on, it
provide
was the day of the
free
Kirk shooting,
services
and I didn't. We
You
asked
can
him. You know,
find
I just said,
them
look, I'm just gonna open it up. You do with it as you will. You're not on here to talk about Kimmel and all that. You're here to talk about your governor's race, so we don't have to spend a lot of time on the air. By the way, we are streaming on live right now. But what was your reaction? I was literally walking into AmFam last night when it came across my phone.
I mean, this is just more proof, social proof that fascism is raining down. And I think freedom of speech and the state telling you what you can and cannot say on different media platforms, we should all be very, very concerned about that and meet this moment with the urgency that we need to fight back.
Yeah. I'm just, I mean, it's just so disturbing to me. This obviously with Kimmel, but all these stories, unfortunately, they are a lot of stories right now of from educators to personal people in private jobs being let go because they put something on there. And it's not even, I certainly don't, I've called it out on this show. I would never condone killing or violence against anyone, period, full stop. But to simply retweet or put things on Facebook that were direct quotes of this guy who said some terrible things, and for that, they're losing their jobs in this state. I mean, we're at 1984.
It's absurd. I think we're headed even further back than that. And so in Wisconsin, where our motto is forward, we have to make sure that our communities are protected from this fascism. And there's a lot more we can do. But it's absurd. It's devastating. You're absolutely right. It's disturbing.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Appreciate your insight. All right. We got about a minute, Zommers?
Yeah, like 45 seconds.
45 seconds. All right. Stand by. Here we go.
Frank Herman's. When we moved here, I called the Y because my daughter was like, I don't know, 7 years old. I said, hey, I'm calling about your beginner's gymnastics class. I'm 40 years old. I've never had a gymnastics class. So do you think I should start there? Frank, I get nothing. On the other end, it's just silence. Even after she knew I was kidding. You should tape that. Come on. And I did take the class, and I did really well.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. Weeknights from 6 till 8 on your local Civic Media Radio.
right, and welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. Now 35 minutes past the hour of 2 o'clock on this Thursday, September 18th, 2025. Glad to have you along. Things are getting exciting indeed in the governor's race. Had a brand new entry on the Democratic primary side yesterday. State Representative Francesca Hong of the 76th district here, representing parts of the Isthmus of Madison and kind of the northeast side, is in the race like we have everyone else. Going to play about a minute of her campaign launch video and come back with a live interview with Representative Hong.
It's so stressful to get by these days, and I know a lot about stress. I work in restaurants. I started in this kitchen 15 years ago, and you might recognize what's across the street. A lot of people in that building don't get why it's so hard to get by right now. Working hard doesn't mean you can always keep up. One wrong step can lay you out flat. This is by design. I'm State Representative Francesca Hong. I'm a service worker, community organizer, and a mom. I work for a living. Always have, still do. 5 years ago, my community sent me to the Capitol. The system is rigged. I'm running for governor to fix it. For years, we've been told that doing better isn't possible. Well, let me tell you, that's bullshit. All we need to do is fight together. We can fully fund our public schools and have universal childcare. We can guarantee paid leave and have cheaper health care. We can fix a rigged system that puts oligarchs over workers and small businesses. We can do better.
State Representative Francesca Hong in her announcement video for governor of the state of Wisconsin. As we said, all the candidates that are coming on played about the first minute. That's called a tease. If you want to see the whole thing, go to her website. It is francescahong.com. That's FRANCESCA Hong, HONG.com. And Representative Hong joins us live via StreamYard. First of all, Representative, welcome to the show and congrats on getting in the race.
Thank you so much, Todd. I'm stoked to be here.
Happy to have you here as we do with all of our guests. First time on the program. We appreciate you making time for us. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, and how you got into being a state representative.
I am a proud daughter of South Korean immigrants, born and raised in Madison, Wisconsin, and a very proud service industry worker. I've been working as a chef, line cook, server, bartender for almost 15 years now and had my own restaurant for 7 years. I've been in the state legislature. This is now my third term since 2020, and it has been an absolute honor to be able to represent the folks of the 76, but also meet so many communities across the state who invited me to speak, where we held Medicaid town halls, and getting to know folks in other parts of the state and learning that a lot of people in Wisconsin, regardless of zip code, care about the same things. It's one of the reasons that drove me to run for governor so I can represent more people in the state.
People that listen to the show know I don't have a dog in this fight per se. I'm not making any endorsements in the Democratic primary, but I have to say, as a person who used to be a general manager of a sports pub and had a couple of coffee business cafes myself, it's great to have a service industry person in this race. I think it offers a unique perspective, so I think that's pretty cool. As I have all the candidates, Representative Hong, why are you running for Wisconsin's governor?
We are in a movement moment. This is a devastating time for our country and Wisconsin and working class people. Wisconsinites work so hard and they hustle, and they deserve a governor that works just as hard and hustles just as hard. And so in a moment where we need to be building working class power as a community organizer, as a single mom, as a very proud service industry worker, I want to be a governor that is for building working class people power. And so that's why I'm in this race. It's about organizing, it's about fighting back, but it's also about fighting alongside folks. And that's what I'm here to do.
As you travel around the state, and I know you've held town halls with Democratic Congressman Mark Pocan here on Madison, outside and other places, namely the 3rd District. But I know you're somebody who gets around the state. You don't just stay in Madison. As you travel around, Representative Hong, what are you hearing from Wisconsinites, and what do you see as at least the one or two top issues in your campaign?
fully funding public schools. There is no more unifying issue than our public schools right now, because we know that strong public schools make for strong communities, especially folks in rural communities where often the school is their largest employer. Folks are really concerned that they are forced to go to referendum and raise their own property taxes because the Republicans in the legislature won't fund public education. I hear about childcare, and it's not just from families and working class parents. It's seniors, it's employers. Universal childcare is something that I hear about often. And then speaking of care, our care infrastructure. So care workers who are at-home healthcare workers, mental health care workers, caregivers who are making sure that our elders and folks in the disability community can age and live with dignity. That infrastructure is so fragile right now. And we have to make sure that our caregivers are paid living wages so that we are able to have care for ourselves when we age as well. I said, laid out flat in my video, and it's because one accident or something where you lose your job because you don't have care or healthcare is too expensive. These are things that the system is rigged so that it gets harder for us to access the things that we need. So this campaign is about strong care infrastructure, cheaper healthcare, especially for small business owners who want to do right by their employees and afford cheaper healthcare, universal childcare, fully funded public schools, and guaranteed paid leave.
I people wonder sometimes why you go into a restaurant or a cafe or whatever, and there's a spill and people go apoplectic and get signs and get mops. It's because, I've gone years when I was in the food service industry, not having health care. And like you say, you slip and fall, you're bankrupt. And so I think that's a really pertinent issue that's going to connect with a lot of Wisconsinites. Representative Francesca Hong is our guest. She is running for Wisconsin governor. She is the 76th assembly person from Madison here. You called yourself the wild card. Why?
Well, I think wild card can net you wins, and I want to get wins for the people of Wisconsin. And I think folks don't always understand why we need normal, relatable people in office. I'm an everyday working class person dealing with working class struggles now as a renter in a city that is majority renters and rent is too high, as a mom where I'm worried about the summer camps that am I going to be able to afford them for my kid who is going to the amazing Marquette Elementary. But we know that our public schools right now are struggling because they have been defunded for over a decade. And so the wild card is somebody that wants to net wins, and we have to be bold and sometimes risk tolerant. And so I think seeing myself not just as an outsider, right, for not running statewide, but a normal everyday person who wants more for Wisconsinites, and we need to imagine better for everyone and that we can make better possible together. I think that then being a wild card is a pretty good thing.
I've asked this question of every Democrat that's come on the show so far running for governor. Josh Schoen, the Republican side, was on this. We didn't have enough time with him, but I kind of got into a little bit. But let me ask it this way, and I'm honest. Look, I'm not gonna. I'll call myself out. I admire you because you've always been, as far as I'm concerned, someone who is not ashamed of who they are, their beliefs. You've stayed true to that. I left the Republican Party in 2011. Some things I agree with you on. There are some things I don't. I think that sometimes your style, I would say, number one, you're probably the most progressive candidate right now out there on the Democratic side. I don't always agree with how you go about things, but I admire you for who you are. Tell me how, as a progressive from Madison, how do you win this Democratic primary and not alienate people for a general election? And push back on me. That's fair. I'm fair game.
No, that's a very good question, Todd, and I am happy to answer it because I'm going back to the opportunities that I've had to go across the state, right? To hold these Medicaid town halls, to be invited to speak at the amazing Hmong New Year festivals. And when I go to different parts of the state, I am hearing a lot of the same things about folks worried about rising costs, being able to take care of themselves, their kids, their loved ones. And so, being someone from Madison, and don't get me wrong, I love my large town, but I also know that sometimes we're living on a little bit of a bubble. And as a working class, normal person right now, I'm able to relate to a lot of other Wisconsinites, regardless of where they live, because they agree with me on cheaper healthcare, on lower rents, on making sure childcare is accessible and providers have the support that they need to make sure their childcare workers have fair wages. I mean, I worry when folks don't want to take care of our kids because I'm like, who's going to take care of us when we're older? And so, while like my style might not be for everyone, some of that came from working in kitchens for over 15 years and being a bartender that I like my brandy old fashioned sour, but some like when I'm making those and someone wants to tell me about something that's going on in their life, like that makes me approachable and seen as somebody who is not a politician first, but somebody who understands a lot of the issues that are going on, and we need to work towards solutions for those issues together.
About 3 minutes left. I'll be respectful of your time. Let's spend a little time on this because I do admire you as someone who came from the food service industry myself. Talk a little bit about, I mean, you're widely regarded as one of the top chefs and restaurateurs in the state of Wisconsin, and rightfully so. I've had your food. Talk about that experience and what that uniquely brings to your qualifications to be Wisconsin's next governor.
Wisconsinites work so hard, they hustle, and we are proud. And service industry folks, Todd, you and I both know this, we're built different. We work to overcome the different obstacles that you don't even expect to come every day, because you can have all of your me's ready for service, but the customer is the variable. And so being able to be nimble, knowing how to work on a team, knowing that like working an 16, 17-hour shift, the breakfast to late night close, that not only has shaped my values in working hard to be able to take care of myself and my community, but it has allowed me to see that there are so many different types of people in the world. But when you bring folks around the table, when you share the table, when it's more about just having a seat at the table, right? We don't need more seat warmers. We need to make sure that the table is big enough for folks to have what they need to take care of themselves, their loved ones, and maybe even someone they don't know.
Want to give you time for this. I heard you on another show on another network this morning. Thought you did great, but this is important. You've proven you can work across the other side of the aisle with Republicans. Give folks an example of that.
We passed a historic piece of legislation that would require our K-12 public schools to include Asian American history in their curriculums. I worked with a Republican representative on that legislation. We had people come testify who were Republicans, Democrats, probably some independents as well, small business owners, educators, kids. And so this multi-faith, multi-generational, multi-ethnic coalition helped us pass a bill. I worked across the aisle to make that happen.
Francesca Hong, who was correct me if I'm wrong, first Asian American to serve in the state legislature, and she very well could be the first woman and Asian American to serve in the governor's office. You can find all the information about her at francescahong.com. State Representative Hong, thank you for taking the time. You're always welcome here. Safe travels and best of luck.
Thank you. Can't wait to be back.
Look forward to it. State Representative Francesca Hong, everybody, we appreciate her. Come on back. More on the other side. It's the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Audiences, powering
there you go. I thought that was good. I thought that was
Civic Media.
Yeah.
Learn more at civicmedia.us/advertise.
Snooze, you lose out on 50% off of all items in store for Verlo Mattresses moving sale. Available only at the East Washington location and only for the month of September. Check out these once-in-a-blue moon deals. American-made, locally crafted Verlo.
I love playing sports, especially for my school. And that's because school sports are special. It's where it's safe to fail. It's where we're taught resilience, where our fear becomes confidence. It's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I can.
This message presented by the WIAA and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
Cam, I'm not exactly sure what you mean, but if you mean asking her about being the most progressive candidate, or I probably haven't called anybody out as much as I have Representative Long. So I thought it was fair to her to offer her a chance to respond to that and have people, have the audience hear her side of it. It shouldn't just be me telling my opinion. And I think there's a lot of other people that I've heard and talked to that had similar questions like that. I thought she answered it very well. I was very impressed.
Found an injured, sick, or orphaned wild animal?
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was a very good answer to that question. And the service industry stuff was good too.
Or visit giveshelter.org/wildlife.
By the way, I asked Corey. I'm putting part of his email in the podcast description since you quoted part of it. So.
Driving under the influence of prescription painkillers is just as illegal and just as deadly as driving drunk. In fact, there are nearly 2,000 drug-related crashes every year in Wisconsin. Help prevent drugged driving, and let's achieve 0 preventable deaths on Wisconsin roadways. Driving on pills kills. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Departments of Health Services, Transportation, and Justice.
Oh, this is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio. On our show, we share stories from Turtle Island, highlighting the people and issues shaping our communities. From protecting water to treaty rights and preserving languages and traditions, we cover it all. Hear voices like Arvina Martin of Emerge Wisconsin, Dr. Stately, Robert Lilligren, and more. Because Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
I could listen to Robert Pilot all day because I love his voice.
It's very good. It's a very good voice.
Doctors Without Borders is delivering life-saving medical care where it's needed most in communities around the world. From bandaging war-wounded
30
patients in
seconds.
Sudan
Gracias.
to providing clean drinking water in Haiti, we're in more than 70 countries worldwide, bringing patients from sick to recovering, from emergency to aid, from crisis to care. This life-saving care is made possible by a global movement of supporters like you. Thank you.
Wherever it may lead, and having fun doing it. Welcome back to the Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 8 minutes now before the hour of 3 o'clock. At the top of the hour, ABC, CBS News, depending upon which station you listen to, a check of weather with Brittany Merlot and her weather team. Mike Clemens, great sports reporter with a check of sports, and then we'll get into some more things, including a little red meat edition of What's Worse Today. So stick around for that. How about that, State Representative Francesca Hong? We appreciate her coming on, making time for us today. Thought she did a great job.
Absolutely. I thought she had a lot of good things to say. She answered the tough questions well, which is something that I've been impressed with the people we've interviewed so far.
And had somebody on the text line say, well, geez, you asked her something that you wouldn't ask Helder Royce or other people you've had on. And yeah, I mean, because I think I try to be self-critical, right? And as I said right to her face, there have been, I said this before the show to you privately, I've always admired her because she's true to what she believes. And I think that's a foundation for anybody that's going to do a good job in politics. Look at my own bosses. I didn't always agree with my own bosses. But if you're dealing with someone who knows who they are and stands by that and is proud of that, I think you could do business with those people. And so I've admired that. I haven't always agreed with what she did politically or how she said it. And so I just thought it was fair to acknowledge that to her face and give her an opportunity to, give it to me.
Right.
and I thought that she did a great job of that. And not give it to me, but I thought she addressed it. And because I think that there are other people out there in the state who are looking at this race and saying, okay, you got Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez, who is already a statewide elected official, not as many years in politics, might be a good thing that other candidates have. Then you've got County Executive David Crowley in Milwaukee County, who's been endorsed by Mayor Cavalier Johnson in Milwaukee. And he's kind of, I don't want to say gotten Milwaukee County sewn up, but certainly has a good head start there, right? Then you got Dane County. And the two biggest vote-getting counties in a Democratic primary statewide in this state are Dane, where Madison's at, and Milwaukee County. So now you got State Senator Kelda Royce, and now you have State Representative Francesca Hong, both from Madison, who are in the race. And ideologically, at least outwardly, I mean, I think they all agree on a lot of core tenets of the Democratic Party, but at least outwardly, of all those people I mentioned, who is put themselves to be seen or perceived, rightly or wrongly, as the most progressive person out there, agree or disagree, Zombers, I would say Representative Hong.
I would say so too, from what we've seen.
And so I think a lot of people are saying, look, we may like her, we may agree with a lot of what she says, we like her attitude, I guess I'll use that word, or the fact that she's proud and she's not going to couch it, she's not going to sugarcoat it. And also, I think in fairness, hey, maybe there's some misogyny out there as well, because if you had a guy doing that, they'd say, oh, he's strong, he's got great, attitude. And if a woman does that, suddenly, they're the B word. And there's a lot of perceptions. So I just thought it was fair for her to address that issue. And I thought she did a great job.
I agree, yeah.
So, and as I've said, any legitimate, I mean, you can't have Jane or Tom that, down in the street corner saying, I want to run for governor. But I mean, anybody on the Democratic, Republican, Independent side who is a legitimate candidate, we want them on. And we want to give them the same length of time and ask them the same line of questioning to give so that you, the listening and viewing audience, can hear what they have to say.
Yeah, as Abraham Lincoln said, I may not get the words exactly right, but, given the proper information and plenty of beer, the American people are very capable of making their own choices.
Indeed, they can. Want to end up, I guess, on this hour a little bit more on Jimmy Kimmel. Just got a couple minutes left here. And I let's play the Trump cut, Zommers, because, again, this is all about free speech, right? Or allegedly. And this is from How Soon We Forget. A lifetime ago, April 29th of this year. April 29th of this year, here's what Donald Trump said about free speech.
And I banned all government censorship and restored free speech in America. We have free speech. We didn't have free speech.
This year, April 29th in Warren, Michigan, that was a Fox News clip, by the way, where Donald Trump says he's restored free speech. Okay. And yet, last night, under obvious pressure from Donald Trump's FCC and from Trump himself, because his own tweets on his Truth Social implicate him, where he's literally called for Jimmy Kimmel's firing. He's literally called out ABC and Disney. And as Keegan Kelly pointed out, and boy, what a great job he did today, that the time frame, you say something on a Monday, and then yesterday at the start of the day, a couple of interviews, and by nightfall, you're done. That ain't free speech, folks. And I think any Wisconsinite, as Zomer said, given the truth, most of us would say the same thing. I might not like what Kimmel said, and let's again point out, it was not directed at Charlie Kirk or his family. His joke was directed at Trump for his real reaction to dismissing the death of Charlie Kirk. And for pointing that out, ABC and Nexstar and Sinclair said, you're done. That's not free speech. And this is where it starts to get really, really dangerous. And again, I want to publicly thank this company, Civic Media, that is not a conglomerate, not a big investment group. It's one guy, Sage Weil, who owns this company. And the leadership team of this company made it clear that they are standing behind their on-air hosts, keeping it truthful, and we will not be intimidated to give you the truth. Back after this on hour 2. Don't miss it. It's the Todd Allbaugh Show for a Thursday on the Civic Media Radio Network.
This is 92.7 WMDX Columbus, Madison's home for real news and great conversation. A Civic Media station.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The newly formed CDC Vaccine Advisory Panel meeting today and tomorrow, reviewing recommendations and setting up to vote on vaccines for children. ABC News medical correspondent Dr. Darian Sutton says there's concerns if accessibility is restricted for some vaccines, as they have earlier indicated.
With these changes that have that are possibly going to happen later this afternoon,
we have LaFleur on the Browns, how they played. We have Jordan Love on the Browns. We have Pat Murphy on why he lets Brandon Woodruff call the shots. I imagine you're interested in that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I trust him. I trust him emphatically. What this guy has been through on the mound and the way he operates, he knows what he's doing. And it's underrated for this team this year, what he's done. What is our record since Woody started with us? That's something else, because what he's done for the pitching staff. And I'll tell you, the pitching coaches have done a great job with him.
Yeah, that's great. We'll use that.
We also have Brandon Woodruff himself.
Oh, let's hear that.
Tonight was a big outing for me in terms of just getting the body back acclimated. You know, it's been roughly 10 days or whatever it was, and yeah, it was huge for me to get back out there. And obviously, first inning was a little bit lower than what I'm used to, but that's okay. My body got going there in the second, and then everything kind of back to normal.
And then Blake Perkins on having 5 RBIs.
I mean, definitely like confidence boost. You know, being able to come through for the guys, that's always big. But yeah, definitely tough few weeks. I feel like the last couple of days have been good. Like, just kind of reset mentally, and yeah, I mean, all these guys support me every day, and it's good to have some results like go my way. So it feels great.
Yeah, that's good. So we got Murph, Woody, and Perk.
Indeed.
All right, we'll talk about that. We'll promote Terry Barr's new study shows Brewers heading out of the park for hot dogs. I thank you. Thank you, Terry. We'll mention that.
They sure are. I know the Dollar Dog Day that I was there for. They sold, I believe, just under 60,000 hot dogs.
That's a lot of dogs.
Yeah, at some point they had to run out and get get more because, and I know this because I had a hot dog early in the game and it was delicious, and I had one later and it was a clearly different brand and different bun and
Really?
not very good.
Really?
I was like, wow. So I'm guessing that if you want to buy a hot dog from any grocery store within 10 miles, you cannot.
That's really funny. All right, so we'll talk about that. And we'll promote the last free ticket Friday tomorrow.
I'm Savannah Tomei Olson, 92.7.
And next week.
And we'll
something
talk
else.
about the green and gold.
Be very careful.
You are correct, sir.
Why? Manager Pat Murphy. Yeah, I trust him. I trust him emphatically. What this guy has been through on the mound.
Apparently, according to Terry Barr, a hot dog at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. How much do you? So a hot dog at AmFam Field is $4.11.
All right.
How much do you think it costs in Arlington?
$7.
$8.
Really?
Is so highly regarded.
You know, he's one of those guys that can wreck a game for an offense, so definitely always got to know where he's at.
After Miles, what stands out on how the Browns defense performed against the Bengals and the Ravens?
Man, I think they're just a really sound defense. You know, I think watch a film, you know, they don't do a whole lot of crazy coverages. You know, they're pretty set in what they want to run. One of those defenses where it's like, hey, we're going to run this. You guys got to come out, find ways to stop it.
That's Jordan Love with Sports on Mike Clemens.
Catch Farm Report updates throughout the day from the Midwest Farm Report, right here on 92.7 WMDX.
Mostly sunny and stuck in the heat. High temperatures today still soar to the mid-80s. And tonight, clouds start to increase with a chance of showers through the overnight and possibly early tomorrow morning. Otherwise, we'll have a dry afternoon, more clouds, and slightly cooler. Highs scrape 80. I'm meteorologist Brittany Merlot. It's 80 degrees at our studios.
I'm Rick Smith, host
On
of The
my
Rick Smith
shoulder
Show.
makes me
If you're
happy.
looking for honest talk, real stories, and straight-up news
Why? Because
that
she's
matters
sunshine.
to
Brings
you,
sunshine.
tune into The Rick Smith Show. We're digging into the issues that affect your job, your family, your future. Join me weeknights at 9 on the Civic Media Radio Network, because your voice deserves to be heard. That's The Rick Smith Show, heard weeknights at 9 right here on the Civic Media Radio Network.
That's it.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for youth.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous things like metals into your body.
And nicotine, which can harm a person's brain development
Tell you
through
what.
their mid-20s.
With the
You don't want
appealing
those
flavors,
particles.
high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social
30
media.
seconds.
Many kids think vaping is harmless.
From the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. Todd Allbaugh, along with Mr. Aaron Zommers, our producer and engineer on the board. It's 6 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. Welcome into hour number 2 of the big broadcast here on a Thursday, September 18th, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite, coming to you from the beautiful world headquarters of Civic Media in downtown Madison at the intersection of State and Fairchild Zommers. Got the old Sam Davidson street cam for those watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and the like. You can always see things going on, and nothing better. Now, look at that. It's a beautiful fall day. It's going to get cooler, so get out there and enjoy the weather today. Look at cars going by, a couple of people on the sidewalk, tents going up on State Street as even the bus traffic has been cordoned off on State Street this afternoon because of the big night market in downtown Madison tonight on State Street. If you're in the WMDX listing area in Madison, or you want to take a drive here tonight from 5 until 9, right down below where we're at right now in front of the Overture Center across the street, you'll have the WMDX and Civic Media tent set up, have some swag, as they say, i.e. giveaway prizes. And some of our staff, I think John and Gordy are usually there. Dom, the Italian stallion, is going to be there, and he'll shake hands and kiss babies or anybody else. No, I'm just kidding. They'll be there. Now, normally I'm here, but I've big things are happening this weekend. Going to APT, American Players Theater in Spring Green tomorrow night. And then also a family coming in because big family quinceañera on Sunday. So lots going on this week in the it's going to be rainy, I think, on Saturday.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. That's not so good. But today is lovely. So get out and enjoy that. Stop by the night market tonight if you're in Madison and check it out and say hello. Coming up here in just a minute, another edition of What's Worse, a red meat edition. That'll be great. By the way, coming up on the big program tomorrow, it's going to be a jam-packed day, let me tell you.
Absolutely.
It's going to be Bill McCoshen, the founder and president of the Janesville Jets, the North American Hockey League team, on their new arena. Home opener tentatively, home opener is going to be on Saturday, on this weekend. And Bill is going to stop by the program tomorrow and talk about their great new center down there in Janesville and the Janesville Jets. Prior to that, our own Phil Nee from WRC in Richland Center. If weather holds, they're going to have a Richland Center, one of the last drive-in movie theaters.
That's right. He talked about that.
Have you ever been to a drive-in, Zommers?
I have, just once.
Oh, very good.
Once, maybe twice. Either way, there's one in Chilton, if it's still operational, which I think it is. It was a lot of fun. It was really weird. I'm big on
Really
sound.
weird?
It really weird because I'm big on sound in movies, and hearing it through the car stereo, I was like,
It's the experience.
Interesting.
Now,
it was still very
think,
fun.
I think of the all-staff meeting this week.
Yeah.
Phil made a joke about say, hey, if you want, bring your partner, your sweetheart, and you could park in the back row. And it was kind of crickets. And I think that's because not many people on our staff have ever been to an outdoor theater.
Oh, I got it.
Oh,
like
all right.
I knew what he was saying. I just had myself muted because it's a big meeting. There's a lot of people.
Very big meeting. Well, very, very big meeting indeed. So Phil D here is tomorrow talking about this great come out to the movie theater. He's going to do a live edition of Those Were the Days, his great Saturday night program from 6 until midnight, his oldies call-in show from Richland Center. He's going to be talking about that tomorrow on the show. Bill McCoshen and then our old friend Peter Rapine from EPOM's World with another hilarious edition. At least it better be. No, it will be.
No, it always is.
Of the Week in Review, a look at the wild and wacky of real-life human behavior. So that's the show tomorrow. Couple of things, some business. Now, here's the deal for those watching on the stream. I said it before. I have my brand new October Baseball Milwaukee Brewers shirt on today. Was down there last night. What a game. Brewers got a big win over Los Angeles Angels last night down there. And a lot of people are saying, how the heck? I mean, I'm never going to be able to get tickets. A lot of these games are sold out now, but I really want to catch the Brewer fever, even late in the season. We got you covered. Tune in tomorrow, starting with Pat Kreitlow at 6 a.m. Then you got Jane Matnair and Greg Bach, Matnair and Air. Then you got good old Tommy Hartman. And then you've got us. And then you've got Maggie Dawn. And then you got Pete Schwaba. On each of those shows tomorrow, we're all going to give you a magic word, and you download the Civic Media app. And in each of those shows, we'll give you a magic word. You text that word to the Civic Media app during said show. And at the end of tomorrow, the computer will randomly draw from the correct entries, and somebody is going to win 4 club-level seats to a Brewers regular season game yet this season to go down there. There's beautiful seats, club level, own bathrooms for that part of it, own concession stand. It spoils you, let me tell you. But you deserve to be spoiled out there in Radio Land and streaming land. And so tune in tomorrow, Friday, all day on Civic Media. It's our final one. Final free ticket Friday for the season. You should be a winner like Chris in Sun Prairie, Kimberly in Wauwatosa, Terry from Cross Plains, Jim in Brookfield, Penny from Plainfield. That's my favorite winner so far. Or Kevin and Madison. All of one tickets. You can too tomorrow on Free Ticket Friday. So dial in for that.
And you're going to want to have the app anyway.
Yes, that's exactly right. That's where I was going. So it's time to announce. And we have to be very careful about this. And speaking of meetings, we were all called another meeting this morning, actually this afternoon before we came on. We are able to tell you now that starting on Monday, on the same shows that we talked about before for the Brewers ticket giveaway tomorrow, starting on Monday, it's our big fall green and gold text to win contest. Did I do that right?
Yes. Except this time, it's not statewide. It's a multi-state contest.
It is a multi-state contest, and it took me back to my college days while I was experimenting, and I was a part of a couple of multi-state contests, and I said, no, that's not for me, and I just moved on. But yes, it is a multi-state contest now that we have stations in Minnesota. So we have to be very, very careful. The lawyers work overtime on these things because they watch us. Because we're only allowed to use certain words due to licensing agreements, contracts, and the like, and attorneys. So when I say green and gold, Zommers, do we have some music to back that up? When you hear this music on our show next week, there you go. You'll hear that on this program starting on Monday for the next 2 weeks. And when you hear this, it's time for the green and gold text to win giveaway. Not now, Monday. It is a multi-state contest. I love this song. Green and gold. starting Monday across the Civic Media Radio. Your chance, and get this, it's not just the Lollapalooza grand prize of club level seats for a NFL football game. I can't say that.
Yeah, for a football game with the green and gold versus the purple and gold.
Oh, all right.
Minnesota's going to be here in Green Bay.
All right. You can say Green Bay.
You can say Green Bay
and
on its
Minnesota.
own. Yeah.
All right. Sorry. Strike one, but I don't think it counts because the contest
hasn't started.
It hasn't started. I got myself a mulligan. That was my first mulligan on this contest. So we're going to give away tickets to the green and gold versus the purple and gold at a place in Green Bay. We can say that. And so you can win tickets to that event. But every day, here's the cool thing. Every day, we're going to give away $200 of cold hard cash or
this time.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
It's a daily prize of, $200 cash and some gold jewelry.
And I was at the meeting today.
I took notes at the meeting.
So it's $200 cash and beautiful gold jewelry. And we're going to have Bob Barker's old Barker Beauty come in here, and we're going to show you the gold. Live models in the studio. So tune in for that. That'll be a lot of fun as well.
Maybe not that part.
I'm excited. And here's the thing. And I can't tell you that I have definite proof on this, but here's our motto for the next 2 weeks. More text-to-win people win on the Todd Allbaugh Show than any other civic media program.
This statement has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration.
That's what ABC said. More Americans get their news than any other news source. So I'm going to say it. More text-to-win people win on the Todd Allbaugh Show than any other civic media program. So make sure you tune in here starting on Monday if you want tickets to a football game in the city of Green Bay involving the green and gold and the purple and gold. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes! And, by the way, it's a multi-state contest.
It's also expanded now. Before, it was only a few shows a day. Now, it is from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. every odd hour. So that gives you 7 entries a day.
Thank you for bringing that up. You can enter on all these different shows. It's not just one show. So how about that?
Tom in West Allis is asking, how are we notified that we won? Are we called or notified by text? The answer is you will be texted, and then if you don't get that or don't respond, you'll be called. So
we send you a confirmation text, and then you can subscribe to, I don't know, something, and then if you do that, you get an extra entry. So that's even so. Whatever we send you, just say yes. Look, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun, and your chances of winning are higher between 2 and 4. So tune in on Monday between 2 and 4 for the green and gold text to win contest on Monday. I'm really excited. It'll be a lot of fun. Always is. All right, 18 past the hour of 3 o'clock. Time once again for What's Worse. Let's go.
This or that, this or that. Then of course the choice is yours. You can get with this or you can get with that.
Time once again for What's Worse. Nothing to give away, no prize money involved for this one. But it is your chance to have your voice heard across the entire Civic Media news, radio, and talk station. By the way, I forgot. Well, we'll do a little bit later. Well, we'll play you some Brewer cuts from Pat Murphy. I got talking about the contest. I forgot to play the cuts. And Terry Barr, the great Terry Barr of this network, has written a story on civicmedia.com.us. Sorry. A new study shows brewers hitting it out of the park for hot dog sales. She wrote about it. It's a fantastic story. So check that out at civicmedia.us. All right, speaking of now, timely indeed, as Mike Lucas says, because today's What's Worse category involves meat. Know your cuts of meat. The old bit from Letterman. All right, today's category, What's Worse, fried chicken or steak? Fried chicken or steak? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. What's worse, fried chicken or steak? You can also text us at the aforementioned Civic Media app. Simply go to your Apple or Android device. Download it for free. Takes less than a minute. It's what CBS's Gail King calls a deal. The
I
Civic Media app.
suddenly feel the urge to attend a banquet at a supper club that contains both of these items.
You've had steak at a banquet?
Well, it was steak tips. But...
Oh, I got it. All right. Very good. Fried chicken or steak? We'll play the game next. 855-752-4842. What's worse? For a Thursday on the Civic Media Radio Network.
WMDX Madison, where the cheese is sharp and the vibes are chill.
Get ready, Madison. Elsa's Own Jarocho is now open on Plaza Drive. 5-star authentic Mexican cuisine, fresh, homemade, and the best prices in town. See why one review said best tacos I've ever had in my life. Elsa's Own Jarocho. You won't leave hungry, just happy.
Hey, Gordy, I gotta admit, these hearing aids from Madison Hearing Aid Center changed my life.
Mine too, John. I thought I needed subtitles to talk to my grandkids.
And these aren't those old giant clunkers we saw in the old days. It's got Bluetooth, it's rechargeable, the works.
Yeah, my phone connects straight to my ears. I'm basically a
I
cyborg.
tend to agree,
you just
Dana.
figured out
I
texting
didn't
last year, too.
I didn't write
baby
this.
steps, but I did call Madison Hearing Aid Center, and you should too. 608
It's a good opportunity for me to play another song by one of my favorite artists, Reverend Horton Heat.
4077. Tell them John and Gordy sent you.
You're listening to the American Democracy Minute, keeping your government buy-in for the people. Earlier this summer, the Trump Justice Department requested states turn over massive amounts of voter registration,
He has a song titled
balloting,
Eat Steak.
and election
Oh, well,
administration
fantastic.
records. Two states
And I
which
double-checked the
refused
lyrics. We're good to
request,
go.
Maine and
It is
Oregon, are
FCC
now being
compliant.
sued by DOJ. The Brennan Center for Justice counts 34 states which received data requests from either the Civil Rights Division, formerly a watchdog for voting rights, or from DOJ's Criminal Division. New Hampshire cited state statutes prohibiting the release of such information, but Indiana confirmed it recently sent DOJ personal information, including driver's license and partial Social Security numbers. Maine received its first request in mid-July, which it declined August 8th, citing a lack of justification. DOJ's statement announcing the suit said, quote, American citizens have a right to feel confident in the integrity of our electoral process, and the refusal of certain states to protect their citizens against vote dilution will result in legal consequences, unquote. Vote dilution refers to alleged widespread voting by non-citizens, an already debunked.
Eat steak, eat a big old steer. Eat steak, do we have one deer? Eat beef, it's a mighty good food. It's a great A meal when I'm in the mood. Cowboys are coming from near and far when you throw a few goodbyes.
22 now, past the hour, 3 o'clock on Thursday, September 18th, Summers. What did you do? Nicely done. We're talking what's worse, fried chicken or steak?
That is Eat Steak by the Reverend Horton Heat.
The Reverend Horton Heat. Not a Reverend in Heat, the Reverend Horton Heat.
Correct. Yeah, a great, I guess the genre is technically called psychobilly. It's rockabilly, but he's a weirdo, basically.
But that song's fine. That song's absolutely fine. 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. What's worse, fried steak or... See, I knew I was going to do that. Fried chicken or steak? Fried chicken or steak? That is the category today. Brand new listener calling in from, or texting in from West Dallas, Jay, listening on West Dallas on WAUK. And by the way, Zommers, we've been cleared, I've heard, to announce the news. There is another frequency that people can hear AUK at across the terrestrial radio in Milwaukee land. If you could dial that up, we'll give people that number because I don't have it right in front of me. But I know that Corey sent that out. We'll let people know. So that's fantastic. Jay in West Dallas says steak is worse. It's way too fatty. I think it depends on the steak, Jay, with all due respect. I mean, I get a nice filet once in a while. I'll spend the money. There's no fat on that. But yeah, a ribeye or a lower cut steak, I can definitely see that. Brett in Brown Deer, listening on AUK, says steaks are worse. I never really cared for steak, but I'll fight you for the last chicken breast. All right, very cool. I appreciate that. Zommers, as always, fantastic on the info.
From Luke.
From Luke. The new station you can listen to us, or the frequency, not new station, new frequency in Waukesha on WAUK is 100.3 FM. So if you're in your car, home, office, dial us up on the FM dial in the Milwaukee area, particularly downtown. 100.3 on your dial. Now AUK is available there. 855-752-4842. Was Catherine going to be? I thought Catherine was going to be on the air. Tell Catherine to come in. What's she?
Todd is or Catherine.
Well,
now she's out and closed the door.
Catherine, our great general manager here at MDX. I saw her come in and look. I thought she was going to say something and be on the air. I was very excited about that because we don't have people join us that much here, and it's always a pleasure. Adam, by the way, the category fried steak or Jesus, Todd, fried chicken or steak. Adam in Oregon says, I saw Reverend Horton Heat in the High Noon Saloon in Madison. Great show. Also, fried chicken is worse.
Adam, I was also at that show. It was a great show.
All right. Let's go to the phone lines, 855-752-4842. Mike out in beautiful Spring Green, listening on WRCE in Richland Center. Mike, fried chicken or steak, what's worse?
It's a conundrum for me because chicken is easier to digest, but fried means it's in oil. Steak, overall, I think tastes better. So I think my official answer is, I don't know.
Down the middle.
Can I answer that way?
Sure. Hey, it's a free country. So far, at least today. Not if Jimmy Kimmel, but on this network, it's a free country. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Mike. Thank you very much for the call. 855-752-4842. Go to the phone lines. Jesse in Madison, listening on WMDX. Jesse, fried chicken or steak, what's worse?
Well, it's such there's so many like socioeconomic aspects to this and philosophical aspects. I think the discussion itself is the winner, right? I mean, usually what's worse that you guys posit forward to listeners is like two bad things, but here it's really more about like what's better, right?
Right, that's a good point.
But it's like just like the proverbial left-wing circular firing squad. I'm not going to participate in it. In that sense, I'm going to say that both are great, and I'm going to show solidarity. If I'm feeling like fried chicken, I'm going to show solidarity with my steak eaters. If I feel like steak, I'm going to show solidarity with my fried chicken eaters.
Appreciate it, Jesse. Thanks. Have a good day. 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Troy in Mount Horeb. Troy, fried chicken or steak, what's worse? Troy, are you there? Troy.
Yeah, now I am.
All right, go ahead. Fried chicken or steak?
Close to my truck, and the GP or the Bluetooth in there picked me up.
So, okay.
Fried steak is the worst.
So fried chicken or steak? I said it wrong once.
No, I know you did. I was just playing with you. Like Carson always said, if you have to explain the joke, don't give up.
Yeah, right. It's fine. You're fine. You're fine. All right.
I'm sorry. That was
good. That was good. Thank you. I appreciate it, Troy.
One other thing real quick.
Yeah, quick.
Of course, you asked Francesca Hong different questions because she's a different person. So
I try to just adapt.
It just makes sense.
Yeah, just adapt it to their background and things like that. So,
right, exactly.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Exactly.
Thanks for listening, Troy, as always. Appreciate. Go Crew. Go Brew Crew, by the way.
Also, just to say, I got Troy's joke.
Oh,
so.
Thanks, Sommers. I appreciate it.
I just wanted him to feel better.
Yeah, right. Our old friend Gordy Kopke down at Kopke's Greenhouse, a fine sponsor of this network. We appreciate that. Get on down to Kopke's in the town of Dunn, just outside of Oregon here in Dane County. I was down there, picked up some beautiful couple of mums and some other plants down there at Kopke's for the fall. Get there before it's too late. Gordy Kopke says, where's his text? Now I'll find it here. Gordy says on no doubt chicken is worse. I'd rather go eat at a steakhouse than a chicken house. While there, I'll have the surf and turf, not the surf and chicken. That's a great point, Gordy. Nothing better than a filet and some shrimp or some lobster. We'll read a few more of these when we come back. And also, beware of internet ads. It could cause havoc on your Android device. We'll explain after this. Farm News is next. It's the Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network.
MDX Madison, where the cheese is sharp and the vibes are chill.
Radio Garden. I didn't know you were on Radio Garden.
I didn't either, but that sounds like a cool app.
The
Very
Midwest
good.
Farm Report throughout your day on 92.7 WMDX.
Now that school is in session, school nutritionists are once again balancing tight budgets with big goals, making sure kids have healthy,
We'll be
appealing
back in a
meals
moment,
on their
folks.
tray while also connecting them to local farms. I'm Stephanie Hoff for the Midwest Farm Report. Along with you on a Thursday, we're checking in with Nutrition Director Stacy Nelson from the School District of the Menominee area. She's also the president of the School Nutrition Association of Wisconsin. She gives us an example of how her team is able to stretch roughly the $2 they have to spend on a meal to incorporate local food.
The Dunn County Dairy Farmers Group reached out to us. They really wanted to partner to promote dairy, of course. When we were brainstorming different options, we decided what better day than Eat Local Day. That is on Monday, September 22nd. We will be serving for lunch across the district grilled cheese with cheese that is sourced from Wisconsin. And then we decided that how fun would it be to pair it with a homemade roasted tomato soup. So we were able to work with a local farmer to source us with all of the produce for that soup. So we were able to get tomatoes, peppers, onions, and fresh garlic from him.
That meal will feed roughly 1,500 students on Monday. Stacy Nelson along with us from the School District of the Menominee area. We'll take a look at closing markets after this.
At the Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection, they know your business has always been something special. Now you can let customers know it too, in an instant, with the red and yellow Something Special from Wisconsin sticker. Joining the program gives you access to supplier and distribution information, marketing support, and a community of like-minded Wisconsin businesses. Best of all, you'll let people know that your work is done with care, quality, and love. You've
I said,
always
come
been
on,
something
we'll give you
special.
equal time.
Visit somethingspecialfromwisconsin.com
Happy to have her
to
on.
make it official.
What?
Farming
I don't know.
has
I told
no
you
set
so.
hours.
I put headphones
The
on. She
weekend's
comes in.
off. The work can feel endless, but wrapping up that last acre makes it all worth it. At Rank Seed, we get it. We know the pain and joy of farming because our family's been doing it since 1846. Our seed will work as hard as you do. We think you'll crack a smile when the combine rolls. Rank Seed. Results since 1846.
On the close Thursday from Chicago, December corn is down 3 cents at $4.23 3/4. November soybeans closed 6 1/4 cents lower at $10.37 1/2, and December wheat down 4 cents at $5.24 1/4. July 2026 new crop wheat closed 3 1/2 cents lower at $5.63 3/4. Class 3 milk
That's true.
contracts
Heather
are
Road is
trading
true.
higher
We'll
with
talk about
October
that.
milk
Yeah.
up 10 cents at $17.46 a hundredweight.
Thanks, I didn't
The
know
November
that.
contract
I
up
couldn't have
3
figured
cents
that
at
out.
$17.05 a hundredweight. For the Midwest Farm Report, I'm Stephanie Hawk.
You're listening to 92.7 WMDX, Madison's home for the Todd Allbaugh Show, weekday afternoons from 2 to 4.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Tonight and tomorrow, mostly cloudy, scattered showers and thunderstorms. A low tonight close to 60, high tomorrow approaching 80. Storm chances continue for the weekend, although less rain around. High temperatures will remain in the 70s. It's 82 right now.
Shop Furlough Mattress during our Labor Day sale. It's our biggest sale of the season. Get a free box spring with a mattress purchase, or upgrade to an adjustable base and save even more. At Furlough, every mattress we make is factory direct and custom made locally for you, and it's backed by our lifetime comfort guarantee. Don't fall for the other guy's mattress gimmicks. Furlough has no middleman, so you'll get the comfort you want and save a whole lot of money. American made, locally crafted. Furlough.
Hey there, Wisconsin.
Got just over 30 seconds.
Thank you. having fun doing it. Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. Can't even say my own name today. 35 minutes now past 3 o'clock. Thursday, September 18th, 2025. Zombers is on the board. Glad to have you along with us. Going to finish up today's edition of What's Worse. More calls and texts than I thought today.
People like food.
Well, that happened. I think, well, is this going to go anywhere? And then it does. And then sometimes I think, oh, people are going to want to weigh in about this, and it's crickets. So you never, and that's the beauty of this bit, this segment, is you never know where it's going to go. Today's category, by the way, we're going to talk in a minute. This is real. Google just took down 224 malicious apps with 38 million installs and massive slop ads fraud campaign. Slop ads. I never heard of that until this story came out. I'm going to talk to you about that, with you about that in a minute. But first of all, finishing up today's category of what's worse, fried chicken or steak. Off the text line, Tom in West Dallas on AUK says, this is about, earlier we talked about there's a new signal for listeners in the Milwaukee area, particularly the downtown Milwaukee area, because there are certain times we get in a building or whatever. We did a show at UW Milwaukee, and it gets a little fuzzy. Well, here now we've corrected that at Civic Media, and there's a brand new signal. You can get WAUK and Civic Media over the air. It's 100.3 FM on your dial. 100.3 FM on your dial in Milwaukee. But Tom in West Dallas says, I've never heard it announced, but WAUK is also on an app called Radio Garden. It is a worldwide app you can listen to thousands of stations by scrolling over a map of the world and stopping on a dot. How about that?
That's pretty cool. Yeah, radio.garden is a website as well.
Wow, very nice. Thank you. Appreciate the info there, Tom. Len in Madison says, what's worse, steak or fried chicken seems more like a personal preference question. However, steak is worse in terms of purchase cost, overall environmental impact, and probable health reasons. All right. Thank you very much, Len. Julie in beautiful Wausau on WXCO, Bull Falls Radio, home of Chad Holmes, one of our great, great announcers and people here at Civic Media. And Julie says steak is worse for the environment. Really? You think, I guess cows
Yeah, cows generate a lot of methane.
Yeah. I'm still eating steak.
Fair enough.
I ain't stopping eating steak.
Some people do, and that's one reason why.
There are other things that cause bigger problems than steak, in my opinion, like coal or other things like that. Anyway, this is an environmental segment. Matt in Middleton says, this is a tough one. Did we do that all right? Already? It says it's a tough one, as I like both have done right. I will say fried chicken is worse. It's bad for us and delicious. I'll even eat the terrible grocery store chicken and regret it every time. Now here, when I buy chicken, I try to spend a couple of extra bucks and buy either the organic or the non-antibiotic chicken.
Yeah, and there's also some that add more water to increase the weight, and some that don't. There's a lot of research you can do, but ultimately, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not a chicken expert.
Yeah, well, you got to be careful when you're eating it, because if you swallow wrong, then you'll choke on your chicken, and that's no.
You don't want to do that.
Absolutely not. John in Edgerton on WMDX says chicken is worse. I lost 60 pounds after surgery, and my surgeon recommended eating chicken for protein to put the weight back on. I have nightmares about that bird after the last 2.5 years. Well, John,
I believe it.
Glad you're feeling better. Glad you're feeling better. We did Gordy's Megan in Sub Prairie says fried chicken is worse. I've never had a horrible steak, but I have had a disappointing piece of fried chicken. Well, that brings me to my lovely and talented sister, Heather, listening on WCFW The Tap up in Eau Claire, says, you know my answer. My stupid luck is to always get the worst steak at the table. I have had good steak twice in my life. One of them was in Milwaukee with you. It was delicious, but I never order steak if I can avoid it. And just to clarify, steak is worse. Now, this I feel terrible because I like both, but I love a good filet. I love a good steak if it's done well. And Trigby Olson, our friend and friend of the show, he introduced me to a place been around Milwaukee forever called the 5 O'Clock Steakhouse in Milwaukee. Old place that's fantastic. He took us there, he and Rick Wilson, when they were in town for the Republican National, or no, they were here when we had the Republican presidential debate at FiServ in, it would have been 2023. And then when my sister and brother-in-law were kind enough to drive all the way from Eau Claire down to Milwaukee last year for the RNC to be our on-site producers, for nothing, by the way. But I said, we got to do something for him. So I took him out to the 5 O'Clock Steakhouse in Milwaukee. And my sister's like, I said, I'll guarantee you're going to get a great steak. And she did. And so.
But it's the only time,
apparently. It's the only time she has terrible luck of getting, table ordered steak. So no. How about you, Zombers? What's worse?
It's a bit of a tough one because, we've had some comments also from Casper, our engineer, and Parker, producer, about how.
What do they say?
So Casper says, eating beer, he corrects beef, not beer. Okay. Eating beef causes more greenhouse gases than all the vehicles we drive. Not eating beef is one of the greatest things you can do for the environment. And Parker, one of our producers, says, beef is really bad for the environment. The Green Brothers have proposed beef days, special days you can eat beef to limit how much we eat. And the greenhouse gas thing really is a serious deal. So
go ahead.
But also, steak is expensive. So I like it more than fried chicken. But because I so rarely get to eat it, I would more be okay with not having it. I don't know. I'm going to say steak is worse, even though I think I like it more.
I like both. I like a good piece. Used when it was back in the 70s when broasted chicken was the thing, and they had to put them in Hub City. There was a place, a little town outside of Richland Center. Those listeners in RCO, Myers Supper Club in Hub City, broasted chicken. They put it like in a big pressure cooker and they radiate it, and I don't know what they did. It was delicious. It was broasted chicken, and that's always good. And
yes, it is.
A good chicken breast is great. Fried chicken is good. But for me, pound for pound, you can't beat a good steak, a good filet. And I don't want to say I don't care, but I'm a big fan of Wisconsin beef producers. Do you know how they use? I'm not sure if they use it anymore, but the old tagline was "Beef, it's what's for dinner." And the way they came up with that was they hired an ad agency here in town years ago, and they couldn't come up with anything. They couldn't come up with any something. And so the ad guy came home one night and he said, what are we having tonight? And she said, we're having beef. And he's like, we've had that like 3 nights this week. Can't we have something else? And she said, Bill, it's what's for dinner. And he goes, oh. And so they made it beef. It's what's for dinner.
Where's the beef?
That's something else.
That's something else.
That's Wendy's. But no, my grandparents, after they retired from the dairy farming, they got into beef. And we were out with Joe Thomas at Six Springs Farm. And I think the important thing, the difference is you're looking at how a guy like Joe Thomas at Six Springs Farm does it. It's all pasture raised.
Yeah, it's not a CAFO. I forget what that stands for.
It's
giant corporate mega
like Joe
farms.
said, it's like a beef spa out there.
Yeah.
And the enormous amount of acreage, and there's I guess if you want to go, this is a real thing, by the way, folks. The whole cow fart thing, or the beef fart. But I've been around a lot of humans that put out a lot of stuff too.
It's true. That's true.
I'm going to say all in all, fried chicken is worse. I like me a good steak. And I'm not ashamed of it either. I'll probably say that on this show.
Fair enough.
All right. So that rounds up. We'll have another edition of What's Worse tomorrow. All right. I have long been a user of the old iPhone. I'm a big Apple guy, and that's not a paid endorsement or anything else. It's just a matter of fact. And part of the reason I am is because ultimately you get less spam on an Apple device than on an Android device. And here now from tomsguide.com. Great publication. They do a lot of reviews. And what I like about it is they review an electronic product. They don't take all the endorsement money, but if someone does send them a product, they upfront say, look, these people sent it to us, full disclosure, here's our honest opinion. So, headline, Google just took down 224 malicious apps with 38 million installs in massive slop ads fraud campaign. How to stay safe. This is scary. It says bad apps can be hiding in the place you least expect, and that's exactly what happened with 224 malicious apps that were recently removed from the Google Play Store following the discovery of a massive ad fraud campaign. As reported by Bleeping Computer. I didn't know that was a thing, but I love everything about it. As reported by Bleeping Computer, the campaign itself was discovered by Satori Threat Intelligence Team, which revealed in a new report that these apps had over 38 million downloads in total. However, it was the advanced tricks and obfuscation techniques, boy, I said that one right, they used to bypass Google's defense that really stood out. Unlike previous ad fraud campaigns, this one spanned across the globe with users of the best Android phones downloading them from 228 countries. Though they generated the most ad impressions in the US, 38%, India had 10%, Brazil 7%. Humans security researchers have dubbed the campaign, quote unquote, slop ads, as the malicious apps used in it had a mass product look and feel similar to online content created by, drumroll please, artificial intelligence image generators and other AI tools.
Color me shocked.
And it goes on from there about this ad. I'd encourage it, tomsguide.com.
And this article is linked in the podcast description.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Zommers. I'll read just a couple more sentences here. In order to avoid being detected by Google's app review process and Android's built-in security software, the scammers behind this new ad fraud campaign went to great lengths. For instance, if an Android user installed one of these so-called slop ad apps directly through the Play Store of their own accord, the app would act as it normally would once installed. However, if they stumbled upon one of these apps after clicking through from the scammer's various ad campaigns, the app would become malicious after installation. I just find this enormously confusing. I heard Jane and Greg talk a little bit about this on their show a day or two ago on Matt and Air on air. It wasn't the exact same thing, I don't think, but it's just a good reminder that before you click on something and download it to your device, just double think about that because, again, I'm not here to promote all Apple products. I know there's a lot of great Android products out there as well, but it is one of the things I like about my Apple device better. It seems as though they have better security. Agree or disagree, Zommers?
Generally, that's been historically true. Most of the time, yeah, it is accurate. I will say on the Google Play Store on Android devices, try to go for apps that are verified and recommended by their team.
There you go. A smart young person giving practical advice, news you can use. We'll come back, hear from Pat Murphy. The Brewers get you set for tonight's game at AmFam Field. All that and more. Don't go anywhere. We'll wrap up the Todd Allbaugh Show for a Thursday on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Wisconsin is hitting the road on your Harley.
I hate those ads that show like a fake app and you just have to wait and they cover your whole screen. And then if you accidentally touch something, then it shakes you to download it. It's like, no, I do not want this.
Especially in times like this.
It's not what I'm here for.
I'm tired of politicians who focus on culturals and partisan issues versus delivering real results is going to change lives. And that's what we've done in Milwaukee County. And so my calling is being able to be there for people at my best when people are dealing with their worst times. And as elected officials, as community leaders, that's what we should be focused on.
The award-winning Maggie Dawn Show, weekday afternoons from 4 until 6. Nightlight with Pete Schwaba.
Frank Hermans. When we moved here, I called the Y because my daughter was like, 7 years old. I said, hey, I'm calling about your beginner's gymnastics class. I'm 40 years old. I've never had a gymnastics class, so you think I should start there? Frank, I get nothing. On the other end, it's just silence. Even after she knew I was kidding, like, tape that. Come on. And I did take the class, and I did really well.
Nightlight with Pete
That was
Schwaba.
funny.
Weeknights from 6 till 8 on your local Civic Media radio
Yeah,
station.
in the
and on
full
Civic
clip,
Media
I had to
app.
cut it out to make time, but I
is
guess
a social thing
it was
that
just
wasn't
silence on the other end when he said that to her. And then eventually he's like, "Yeah, so I'm kidding," and she's like, "Uh-huh."
Larissa finished her high school diploma.
That's
If
funny.
you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
We are the National Park Foundation, and together with you, we're creating a future where every person, every generation, gets their chance at an unforgettable moment. Learn more at nationalparks.org/foundation.
You are never far away from your favorite radio
20
station.
seconds.
We're all
Gracias.
No, it's in a minute.
Zommer's downloaded one of those apps right to his brain.
To my brain, yeah.
That's hilarious for people watching the stream.
I was listening to the station in the queue, and I'm like, why aren't they going to us yet? And then I looked at the clock, and I'm like, oh, because I'm dumb.
You're not dumb.
Because I did something dumb.
I'm not dumb. It's fascinating. Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. It is 8 minutes now before the hour of 4 o'clock. At the top of the hour, ABC or CBS News, depending upon which of our great stations you're listening to across the great state of Wisconsin. Brittany Merlot is in with a check of weather. Get out there. Enjoy this beautiful day if you can, because this weekend get a cool down just a tad, not severely, but lots of, or not a lot, but consistent rain, it sounds like, for much of Saturday and Sunday. So if you're going to the Badger game this weekend, we'll talk more about this tomorrow, but boy, already this weekend against Maryland, pretty much a must-win game for Luke Fickell and the Badgers if they hope to win at least 6 games and go to a bowl. So.
I don't have a ton of hope.
Let's hold.
Not because of the team.
This is one of the games I predicted they'd win.
Okay, fair enough.
So let's hope that they.
I just mean generally.
Yeah, well, let's leave you with that today. I just don't generally have a lot of hope.
Okay, yeah, sure.
He meant for the Badger football season. I don't want to read things in too much. Look, there's a lot. Oh, by the way, that after Maggie, after Brittany, we got Clemens with sports, and then we got Maggie Dawn with another great edition of the Maggie Dawn Show from 4 until 6, 6 until 8. Our great friend Pete Schwaba and Nightlight from 6 until 8. So, and then you got Native Roots Radio and Rick Smith across America. So it'll be fantastic.
I also like in Pete's promotions for his show tonight. It said he's having Civic Media Sports Authority Mike Clemens. I do like that.
Sports Authority. I like
to ask Mike if he likes that.
Yeah, that'll be the key. Does Clemens like being called a sports authority? Because he is.
It's certainly not inaccurate.
Not inaccurate at all. So that'll be a great show tonight. Looking forward to listening in myself to that. Brewers, there's some hope for you. Brewers got a big win last night at AmFam Field in Milwaukee, 9-2 over the Angels. They get back underway, wrap up that series. Brewers going for another sweep tonight. 6:40 is the first pitch. The pregame show gets underway just after 6:05 on many of these Brewer Radio Network stations, including WRCE in the old hometown of Richland Center, WISS up in beautiful Oshkosh B'gosh, and WBZH 96.9 FM in beautiful Hayward, Wisconsin. So catch the Brewers tonight across those stations. We'll have our final Free Ticket Friday giveaway for you all day long, starting with Kreitlow at 6 a.m. all through the broadcast day. Tune in all day. Get your magical words. Text them in the Civic Media app. Download it so you're ready, and you will have a chance to win 4 Civic Media Lodge club level seats. They're beautiful, and you can watch a game yet this year. That is tomorrow, so be listening for that. Let's hear from Pat Murphy. After manager Pat Murphy, the Brewers, Clemens got this audio for us after the game. Murph talking about pitcher Brandon Woodruff.
Yeah, I trust him. I trust him emphatically. What this guy has been through on the mound and the way he operates, he knows what he's doing. And it's underrated for this team this year, what he's done. What is our record since Woody started with us? That's something else, because what he's done for the pitching staff. And I'll tell you, the pitching coaches have done a great job with him.
Pat Murphy, manager of the Milwaukee Brewers. And speaking of Brandon Woodruff, threw a great game last night, was walking off the mound he wasn't taking any prisoners. Here is Woody after the game last night at AmFam.
Tonight was a big outing for me in terms of just getting the body back acclimated. You know, it's been roughly 10 days or whatever it was, and it was huge for me to get back out there. And obviously, first inning was a little bit lower than what I'm used to, but that's okay. My body got going there in the second, and then everything kind of back to normal.
Brandon Woodruff last night after the game. We have time for the Perks comments here. This is Blake Perkins got 5 RBI last night for the Crew.
I mean, definitely like confidence boost. Being able to come through for the guys, that's always big. But yeah, definitely tough few weeks. I feel like the last couple of days have been good. Like, just kind of reset mentally, and all these guys support me every day, and it's good to have some results go my way. So it feels great.
Blake Perkins, after last night's game, 5 RBI for the Crew last night. The magic number to win the National League Central Division down to 6 games to get a postseason bye. It's 3 wins or a combination of losses, other teams, to get the number 1 seed in the National League playoffs. They're in contention right now with the Phillies. I think the Crew still has a 2-game lead on Philadelphia. So the magic number there is 8, as well as the overall number 1 seed being 8 as well. But the important one, magic number 6, to a combination of Brewers wins or Cubs losses to win the National League Central outright. So exciting times, Zommers, to follow the Milwaukee Brewers and be a fan. Never too late to jump on the bandwagon.
Absolutely. And as we've said before, I just really love hearing the interviews with players and their attitudes this season. A lot of the time, I honestly sometimes I don't find sports interviews that interesting, because sometimes it can boil down to, how was the game? Yeah, it was good. But I do not
talk.
Yeah, but Mike Clemens knows how to ask good questions, and that's not how these are. So
because Mike Clemens is, as Pete Schwaba said, a sports authority.
Indeed, he is.
Great job. Appreciate that, Mike. Great work, as always, bringing us those cuts and clips. He'll continue to follow the Crew tonight. Again, they get underway against Anaheim. I keep saying Anaheim. That's what they used to be called. Now they're saying Los Angeles Angels. 6:05, the pregame show across many of these stations. Just after 6:35, the first pitch from beautiful AmFam Field. Great show today. Appreciate everybody being along. Many thanks to Keegan Kelly of Cracked.com, State Representative Francesca Hong, and also Aaron Zomer is a great producer, engineer. All of you for listening. Stay tuned. Another great show from Maggie Dawn is straight ahead. Speaking of Milwaukee, don't go anywhere. We'll see you tomorrow with Phil Nee, Bill McCoshen, and Peter Rapine. Until then, whatever you're fighting for, whatever you believe in, do not give up. Keep banging your drum. We'll see you tomorrow.
Banging on your drum, and they will hear you.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Adios.